The BNP Paribas Open at the renowned Indian Wells Tennis Garden is the epicenter of a recent seismic shockwave that has rocked the tennis world. Alexandra Eala has accomplished the unimaginable in a match that has left the Philippines brimming with historic pride and Russia startled into silence. This wasn't merely an annoyance. This was a declaration. One of the most feared and quickly emerging stars in women's tennis, Mirra Andreeva, ranked 5th in the world, was defeated by the 20-year-old Filipino phenom. Nobody anticipated this. Andreeva was supported by the analysts. The Russian prodigy was widely favored by the betting markets. The majority of supporters anticipated a simple win. Rather, they saw a disassembly. The way a young left-handed star from the Philippines outplayed, outthought, and outmaneuvered one of the most formidable hard-court forces on the circuit is currently being processed by the whole tennis world. You should reconsider if you thought the 2026 WTA season was already going according to a predetermined plan. Because there has just been a significant upheaval in the women's tennis hierarchy. And we must delve more to really comprehend the magnitude of this occasion. The BNP Paribas Open is more than just a tournament, which is why Indian Wells is so important. Many people refer to it as the 5th Grand Slam. The rough, slow desert courts need mental tenacity, tactical accuracy, and physical stamina. Champions demonstrate their abilities here, and vulnerabilities are mercilessly revealed. Reputations are altered by winning here. Entire seasons can be reset if you lose here. Mirra Andreeva had terrible momentum going into this match. She wasn't just supposed to win this match because she was ranked in the top 5 in the world. It was anticipated that she would cruise well into the last weekend. This tournament, according to many experts, would further establish her supremacy on hard courts. Her game appeared to be unstoppable. Elite shot placement, clean, flat ground strokes, and tactical understanding far beyond her years of intense competitive fire on paper. Tennis is not played on paper, but this was supposed to be simple. Alexandra Eala stood on the other side of the net, a growing force. Yes, she had been making steady progress. Indeed, she just attained a career-high ranking. Yes, it was clear from her performances during the Middle East tour that something unique was in the works. However, the strain of playing Mirra Andreeva on Indian Wells Stadium court is something different. It wasn't just another round. This was a test of validity. Eala was promising. Andreeva had demonstrated his power. The attention was harsh. There were various expectations. It was an electrifying environment, a collision that took years to prepare. The emergence of Alexandra Eala and Mirra Andreeva has been almost theatrical, as anyone who has followed women's tennis closely would attest. Andreeva, a young dynamo known as the Russian Wunderkind, broke into the elite ranks by defeating seasoned professionals and declaring herself a potential Grand Slam contender. Eala's path has been distinct, more methodical and patient, developed gradually via discipline, progress, and tactical advancement, until Andreeva burst onto the scene. Eala developed into it. These two paths eventually came together at Indian Wells on one of the largest stages outside of the majors. We're going much beyond the obvious headlines in this dissection, as you're about to realize. We'll look at the strategies Eala employed to throw off Andrea's rhythm, how her left-handed topspin neutralized flat baseline power, the mental struggle that gradually changed momentum, why this loss is shocking Russian tennis circles, and how this outcome might have a significant future impact on the WTA rankings. Because this wasn't a coincidence or a result of luck. Under extreme pressure, this required planning, faith, and brave execution. Not even the dust from the desert has settled. This already seems to be a pivotal point in the 2026 season. So fasten your seatbelts because what happened in Indian Wells might not be the year's biggest upset. It could be the evening that Alexandra Eala formally declared herself to be a serious competitor in women's tennis. She is renowned for her terrifying court coverage, unrelenting baseline aggression, and poise on hard courts that makes her appear like a seasoned tour veteran. Mirra Andreeva is known for using pace, accuracy, and psychological pressure to suffocate opponents. She exudes an air of belonging to the top inner circle of athletics, even at such a young age. On the other side of this intensifying battle is Alexandra Eala, a player who, each time she takes the court, represents the aspirations of almost 100 million Filipinos. Eala, a proud alumnus of the Rafael Nadal Academy, has persevered through discipline, tactical improvement, and unwavering determination to ascend the harsh WTA ladder. Her ascent has not been very dramatic. Match after match, tournament by tournament, it has been gained. She recently experienced an incredible run of form that culminated in a surprising upset over top 10 regular Jasmine Paolini in Dubai, propelling her to a career-high position of World No. 31. That triumph attracted attention. Analysts started speculating that Eala was on the verge of a real breakthrough. Let's face it though, meeting Mirra Andreeva was seen by many as hitting a brick wall despite her rising trajectory. The two had already met, most notably late last year at a prominent exhibition event in Macau. Andreeva won comfortably in straight sets on that particular occasion. At the time, the message appeared to be clear. Andreeva performed at a higher level than Eala, despite Eala's talent. Up until now, that was the widely accepted story. The match that, in the sweltering California sun at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden during the esteemed BNP Paribas Open, altered everything. Everything seemed to be in place for another easy win for Andreeva. It was indicated by the rankings. It was recommended in the prior head-to-head. It was suggested by the momentum. However, Alexandra Eala showed up with an entirely new screenplay. She did not enter the court as an optimistic underdog from the first serve. She walked in with the cool, collected demeanor of someone carrying out a planned procedure. How did she manage to pull this off? Disrupt, neutralize, and control with a tactical masterclass. The goal was not to subdue Andreeva. It was about upsetting her. Eala's primary weapon was her powerful left-handed top spin. She repeatedly pinned Andreeva well behind the baseline, preventing her from entering the court and setting the pace. The Russian was unable to straighten down her deadly ground strokes due to the hefty kick, particularly onto the backhand wing, which created painful contact spots. Eala skillfully altered her patterns rather than engaging in a power-hitting fight, which would have benefited Andreeva. The Russian was drawn forward a little by an abrupt, precise drop shot. Backhands that interrupted rhythm were cut by skitting. Rally height was altered by looping top spin balls. Andreeva was dragged off the court by a wide lefty serve. It wasn't checkers, it was chess. Every change Eala made served a purpose. Every rally had a purpose, and the rhythm Andreeva uses to win games started to erode gradually, almost imperceptibly at first. A top 5 player cannot be defeated just by tactics or the mental struggle. You could sense that Andreeva made a strong pushback at one point. The cross-court for hands took off. The speed quickened. The body language became more precise. It was the anticipated retaliation of a champion who refused to back down. Many young players blink at this point. Eala didn't. The Filipina was the one who maintained her composure when break points appeared and the stadium's intensity felt oppressive. In pivotal moments, her first serve percentage increased. She used surgical precision to target Andrea's slightly less dependable wing. Instead of panicking, she trusted her habits. She didn't make snap decisions, have emotional fluctuations, or exhibit obvious doubt. Perhaps more stunning than the actual shot-making was that mental composure. The fans sent out a loud roar when match point came and the final ball was hit. Affirmation, not merely applause. This victory wasn't fortunate. This was a declaration. The knock-on effect. Who prevails? Who is the loser? The larger ramifications of this outcome for Alexandra Eala and the Philippines must now be examined. This triumph is transformative. She becomes a serious contender instead of just a good prospect. Her sitting position is strengthened by it. It improves her ranking trajectory. It makes her more visible on the international scene. Sponsors will take note. The directors of the tournament will take notice. Opponents will undoubtedly take notice. More significantly, young athletes in Southeast Asia now see evidence that they can compete at the top level of their sport. This loss is instructive rather than disastrous for Mirra Andreeva. In women's tennis, the margin at the top is getting smaller. Even the strongest baseline games can be disrupted by tactical diversity, and maintaining status is much more difficult than gaining it. There is no mistaking the message for the entire tour. Alexandra Eala is no longer knocking on doors, and the hierarchy is changing. She simply kicked it open. Alexandra Eala is now more than simply a bright future. On one of the biggest stages in sports, the BNP Paribas Open, she has solidified her reputation as a giant slayer, a player who can defeat the greatest in the world. Her rating is not the only thing that is improved by this triumph. Her worldwide identity is altered by it. Her profile is going to take off. Big brands will pay attention. Opportunities for endorsements will increase. Not to mention, a few days prior to the start of this competition, she had already been given a customized hero's welcome at Nike headquarters in Oregon. That was a symbol of faith. It is validated by this triumph. More significantly, she has motivated a whole new generation of athletes throughout Southeast Asia. For millions of Filipino viewers, this was more than just a tennis match. It was a proud moment for the country. On the other hand, Russia is experiencing severe repercussions. Mirra Andreeva has been portrayed as women's tennis's unavoidable future. Marketed as the unstoppable Russian phenomenon that will rule the coming era. It sends a strong message through the locker room for her to be outplayed, outworked, and tactically demolished in a required WTA 1000 event. Vulnerability is shown. It demonstrates her humanity. Additionally, when fragility is apparent in elite sports, rivals become fixated on it. Andreeva and her top-tier coaching staff will most likely have to start again after this loss will make the necessary changes. Patterns will be reassessed because what Alexandra Eala disclosed in Indian Wells might now serve as a model for others. What comes next? All of a sudden, the WTA landscape seems very open. Eala currently believes that a deep run at Indian Wells is completely feasible. It is no longer unattainable to rank in the top 20. It is easily accessible. She might be more confident going into the Miami Open and the rest of the Sunshine Double after defeating a World No. 5 on this stage. In tennis, momentum is crucial. Eala has it for Andreeva right now, but the focus becomes more intense on a worldwide scale. Every subsequent game will be closely examined. Analysts will keep a careful eye on things to see if opponents have finally figured out how to break a rhythm or if it was just an off day. Champions are produced by pressure, but doubt can sometimes result from it. A rivalry emerges. There's one thing that seems certain. The competition between Mirra Andreeva and Alexandra Eala has formally begun. They have different personalities, different paths, and different approaches. It has every element of a 10-year narrative, the kind that characterizes periods. Last decision to wrap everything up. The BNP Paribas Open. Alexandra Eala's incredible triumph over Mirra Andreeva, ranked 5th in the world, is more than just the biggest upset of the competition. It represents a change in contemporary women's tennis. She has demonstrated that no rank is untouchable with the correct tactical plan, gutsy execution, and unbreakable mental tenacity. The desert produced a new competitor, and the hierarchy